Hello, everyone. So I'm Parveen Khan, and I'm a senior tester at Square Marble Technologies. And you can reach me on Twitter and LinkedIn. So today, I'm going to share my story of how, as a tester, I transitioned from Agile to DevOps. So it's like what challenges I faced and how I tried to resolve them. So I'm going to share a few of those personal challenges. So first, before even starting, so I would like to ask this question, like, as a tester, when some new change or some new process or some new tool is being added into your team, how would you adapt it? Okay, how do you go to find the solution for it? How do you adapt the new change? So do you try to research about it, or do you accept it as a new challenge, or do you reach out to the community to find out how they resolve the same process challenge or any new tool challenge, how they try to resolve it, and do you come back and try to find your own solution? So I was in a similar situation where we were transitioning into DevOps, and to give you a bit of context, we were quite very happy that we transitioned from waterfall to Agile. We were the same team. We embraced the change, and we kind of took baby steps to adapt this new change. Okay, we were quite happy. And from being siloed, testing is just a tester's responsibility. We came from silo to whole team testing approach. Just when we were kind of very happy that, yeah, we kind of approaching very good in Agile testing, Agile way, we had to face a new challenge, which was transitioning into DevOps. For me, it was all the new introduction to the world of new pipelines. It was all about different world of pipelines for me. And I think as a tester, we all like new challenges, right? So we like new challenges because we get to explore that challenge, try to find the solution. We try to get used to different mindset. So I was really happy that I got this new challenge of transitioning into DevOps, because I had to find the solution to how does testing fit into this new world of pipelines and new world of DevOps. But I was scared. Even though I said we like new challenges, I now like new challenges, I was still scared, very scared. And then I asked this question to myself, like, why am I feeling very scared? Why am I not very challenged and happy, and why am I not approaching in a very enthusiastic way? So then I realized that you feel scared when you don't know anything, right? So for me, at least I got an answer that because I don't know anything, how I'm going to approach what this, all these things about pipelines or DevOps is, I was scared. So at least I got an answer about why I'm feeling scared. And then next, I tried this solution, like, okay, I want to explore this and find out how I'm going to approach this. Just like suppose when you start working on a new product, or maybe new feature, when you start testing a new feature as well, what do? Like, you try to explore it, right? You try to ask questions to whoever is related to that feature, maybe developers, product owners, maybe even BAs, whoever is related to that feature or a product, you try to question and explore. So I tried the same approach. I wanted to explore every aspect of this before even trying to work in DevOps. So for me, the first question was, why DevOps? So I kind of asked my team, why exactly do we want to go into, why are we adapting this DevOps in first place? And then I got few reasons from my team. So the first reason was, we were trying to build a product which was already existing in monolith architecture, and we were trying to build it from the scratch in microservices architecture. Now, I'm not saying that we were going for DevOps because we were going for microservices, but because we were building the product from the scratch, and we wanted to adapt this new technology. And the next reason was, for us, need for speed. Yes, we needed the speed because not just because we want to deliver the new features very quickly to the customers or the users, but also to get the quick feedback whether if anything is broken or anything is not working. And of course, it was a new shiny buzz was going around, so we also wanted to adopt this because even we wanted to look cool. So yeah, now I got my reasons of why we wanted to adapt DevOps. So now, the actual thing, what is DevOps? So first thing I did was I just went on to Google and said, what is DevOps? So I just got a lot of definitions for it, a lot of long-length definitions for what is DevOps. And I came across this, which was a bit simple to understand. And only thing I took away from this was like, it was combination of cultural philosophies, practices, and tools, okay? And everything rest was like, for me, okay, everything just went top of my head. And then I went on to my next question. What is continuous integration? I wanted to understand what is continuous integration because when I say we wanted to adapt DevOps, we wanted to start with continuous integration. So that is the reason why I wanted to understand what is continuous integration. So continuous integration, yeah, I came across a lot of definitions, and this one was from Martin Fowler. I read this, I kind of understood, but everything was still black and white for me. And then I came across this image, which was like bit okay, like yeah, it makes sense for me now that okay, everyone, whoever is coding, they send the code, and you get an automated build for next step of testing. Okay, a little bit clarity. So after this, after understanding a little bit about it, I had some more questions. A lot of questions like, okay, how would my testing change? What do I have to change in my current testing process? How would my testing strategy change? What do I have to adapt? Or like, what tools do I have to use? I had a lot of questions. And I was trying to understand, research a lot about it, and still everything was theory because I still didn't understand what would change in my testing world and how. And by the time I was researching all these aspects, I would hear all new words from my team every day, like pipelines, maybe feature toggles, Docker, or maybe shift left. Like every day I could hear new words while I'm trying to find out what DevOps is or how do I have to adapt it. And then, while doing this, I think we all went into silo. Like, my front-end team, they all went into silo. Like, they wanted to find out what tools they want to use or what new shiny tool they want to use. And my back-end team, they went ahead and they wanted to research about what tool they want to use. And we, as a testing team, like, we went ahead and we were trying to research about, because we all were new to this. And unknowingly, we all tried to create silos between us. And I realized that we are again trying to become silo team. So it didn't take a big shout because it was not deliberate. So I just called upon a meeting and I said, okay, I think we all are working in silos. DevOps is not about going into silos and trying to pick up tools, what works for you, and coming back and just working together. It's not like that. It is about working together and finding the solution for what works for all of us. And then they realized, and this was the exact reaction from them because it was completely done unknowingly. So it was good. One challenge resolved. The next one was, I was not being part of most of the meetings because I was told that it is too technical for me and I will be very overwhelmed if I'm being part of that meeting. So then my only solution, my only answer to that was like I self-invited myself to those meetings because as a tester, I want to understand the whole context behind why this tool is being selected or why are we going with this process. Like whatever decisions are being made in those meetings, I do want to know the context. Even though I'm not providing any value at the same time, but I might just pose some questions from testing perspective. So still, I might add value to that meeting. So I self-invited myself and attended most of the meetings, and then they could see the value, not straight away, but after few of the meetings, when I attended, I gave my feedback. Then that's where they realized, and they stopped calling me like, you're not too technical. At least that was resolved. Then next, we decided that because of few of these challenges, we decided, okay, let's try to work together collaboratively and try to find the solution together for all of us. And then the next step for me was, once we started to collaborate, I said to my team that I do want to visualize these pipelines, because all I could hear in DevOps world was pipelines. So I said, I want to visualize these pipelines and see what it is like. And then we went into, we sat in a meeting room with in her whole day, and we decided what we want, how we want, and then we came up with this initial set of pipeline. So this was based on, at this stage, what we understood what DevOps or what continuous integration is. So we kind of decided that we'll have these static code analysis, unit testing, integration testing, contract-driven testing, and API testing. And then after seeing these pipeline, okay, I can visualize this now. I can see what it is now, what goes in. Now I had few more questions for myself, what are these stages? Who defines those stages? Will I have any place in defining those stages as a tester? Or is there, my biggest question was, will there be any manual exploratory testing in this whole new world of DevOps? And then, while trying to answer these, because we all were new, no one had these answers to these questions, we were trying to find the answers as we go. And because we had our first pipeline doesn't mean that that's what it. We were trying to understand more and coming back and trying to redesign our pipeline after our better understanding. So again, we came back and we decided we'll have a pre-deploy pipeline with 2 stages, like static code analysis and unit testing. So even I didn't knew initially that what is this pre-deploy pipeline? And the answer I got from my team was for these tests to run, we don't need any environment, so that's the reason why we are calling it as pre-deploy pipeline. Yeah, it was our own name made. So the next was post-deploy pipeline. So we had 2 different pipelines. And on this pipeline, we had integration test, contract-driven test, and API and smoke test. Okay, now I can see, again, they came up with 2 different pipelines. So smoke test was added by me, fine. So I wanted to understand why we are having each stage. What are these stages? I understand, few were new to me and few were already known to me. So I wanted to explore what was new for me. So if I go back to pre-deploy pipeline, static code analysis was something new for me. So we were trying to use SonarQube tool for static code analysis. And while exploring that, I understood that, yeah, it is something related to, it gives the coverage for code smells or vulnerabilities or some of the vulnerability bugs. It was good that we were experimenting with different tools, so I can see what exactly the tools can give us. Like, for example, because we were playing around with the SonarQube, I could see what kind of report it gives, and can I get any value from it, or how can I use it? So because of that, you can call it as experimenting or proof of concept, so I can see at least what goes in. So the next step for me was to understand the post-deploy pipeline. What are the stages on the post-deploy pipeline? So I knew integration test, yeah, API test, contract-driven test was new for me because I think because we were using microservices, so we introduced this new type of testing because we wanted to make sure the producer-consumer contract is working fine as well, not just the API testing. Okay, fine. I kind of understood like pre-deploy pipeline and post-deploy pipeline, the stages and everything. At this stage, I think and having a little bit of understanding about each thing, like DevOps and continuous integration and how does these pipelines look like and what are those stages, we as a team were feeling more confident and we were feeling and we were working more collaboratively. So when we just started off, we were just like these, like we didn't knew, no one knew what exactly we are going to adopt, like no one knew what exactly these things are, what tools we are going to use, what is this all new technology. But I think we all came back with the understanding of like what this continuous integration is, DevOps is, everything. Like we all came back together and tried to build the whole picture of just like this big black elephant, you know? So we kind of came together and built the puzzle together. So at the end, I think the more we were getting more understanding, we tried to stick with this initially. Like this was our like full build pipeline, where we had the same amount of tests, which were on the pre and post deploy pipeline, but instead of having two different pipelines, we came up with one single pipeline. And at the end, there was mini regression stage, which I tried to add that because initially I didn't want to go for huge amount of like full regression test on the pipeline, because I thought it is for quick feedback. So let me start with a small and try to see how it's working. And then slowly I wanted to add more and more to those, more and more tests to those pipeline. I want to take kind of a baby step to understand how the feedback is working and how long it is taking. And then I wanted to add more valuable tests to it. And yeah, of course, like I can't, we had regression test suite running on our pipeline, but we kind of started off by having those as a nightly build. Instead of running with every build like every day in the daytime, we started to have running those as a nightly build. It was like next day morning, I could come and check those reports, and if there are any failures, because of the bug, not because of the automation code, but if there are any bugs introduced in the regression, then I would just raise those bugs with the build number. The difference was like, I could point the build number of where the bug was, like from which build the bug was. It was something like, you know, it was not something like trying to find the needle from the haystack, but you know which part of the haystack you need to find the needle from. So at least you know the pointer where you have to find the bug from. All these tests on those pipelines meant that I got more time to explore, like do a lot of manual exploratory testing. Which was good, which was an answer that still manual testing was there in this DevOps world. So I got a lot of time to explore my product, my application, my feature, so which was very good. So this was start, like we were trying to understand, and this was the start of our journey, like how initial pipeline, what we want and how we want. So at the same time, we wanted to build some goal as to what we want, like our future vision for those pipelines. So we decided to have some performance testing to our pipeline in future as part of our goal, security testing as part of our pipeline as part of our goal, and then some visual testing, and also having some monitored way of dashboard where we can see which build is passing which. So it was kind of like future goal. And then once we are settled in continuous integration, then we would approach towards continuous deployment. So we kind of had our future vision towards this. So this was kind of a start of the journey. It was not complete journey, but this was kind of a start of the journey where I tried to understand the new challenge, and I tried to approach this, and I tried to add the value as a tester to those, like by being part of designing those pipelines and adding those tests to the pipelines, and making sure, like, it was not just as a tester role when I was transitioning into DevOps, it was more of a strategic role. So from this journey, there are a few key takeaways for me, like as a learning, which I kind of I learned from this transition. It was like, it's okay to feel scared. Yeah, I was very scared initially with the change, but it's okay to feel scared, and it's a very valid human emotion to feel scared, and embrace. I embraced my scariness, okay, and visualize those pipelines. For me, it was very. I understood a lot by visualizing those pipelines, sitting along with my team rather than siloing. And it's definitely okay to not know. Like when you start, for me, I was a bit scared. Even I was scared that I don't know anything. So I think you need to have that feeling in that it's okay. It's okay if you don't know anything, if you don't know what you're trying to approach, what new technology or process you're trying to approach from, and just you as a team are going to work on it. And question. I think questioning, like as a testers, like we try to question when we are testing a new feature or a product or anything, right? The same way I think questioning works when you are trying to like work on a new process or you are working on a new tool. And explore. Explore is not just for exploratory testing where you explore the product or your feature, but also you can explore the new change, you can explore the process and try to find out the solution. And trust and collaboration, which is most important. Trust, it's not just important when you are like in the starting phase or of the transition, but also which goes along. Like you have to have the trust and collaboration within your team. And these were few of the resources which I was going through while to read, like to understand few of the concepts while I was transitioning into DevOps. And I got inspired by Tariq's keynote this morning. So that's where it's like inspire, invest, and innovate. It's like, I really want to thank Angie Jones, who has like inspired me and who has invested her time in me to innovate myself. And I really a big thank you to HUSTEF to having me here. And thank you very much for listening to my short story and a journey, which was the beginning of DevOps journey, and still more to come. I still have to learn more. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you, Parveen. Time for questions. Did moving from Agile to DevOps have any impact on customer-reported defect rate?
Yeah, I mean, the impact was like, did moving from Agile to DevOps have impact on customer report? Yeah, so you say like, I think it was more like with DevOps, I think we tried to work very closely within the team and we tried to understand. So there was no silos, right? We tried to understand more working together with the product owner, with the developer, and myself as a tester. So, like bugs, I can say there's no such thing as there are no bugs at all, 100% no bugs at all. But yes, definitely there was not completely low, but a little bit more average down to the customer defects.
Okay, thank you. What should be described of a QA DevOps daily work, like job descriptions?
Job description. Daily work, I think for me it was like trying to be more alert, more like, it was like trying to wear different thinking hats at the same time, being very alert, planning, a lot of planning, and like, if you have any reports, like if you see any reports, you have to make sure what value can those reports get to you. And making, like when I was working, like we had different reports generated throughout the whole build cycle. So I was my only thing was like trying to be very alert and plan and see how the report changes, or are there any changes in the metrics. So I think it changes drastically, it has a lot of change. And also I think it is different from team to team and company to company, what they call themselves as DevOps and how they call themselves as team. And based on that, it differs how, as a QA, your daily job is. Like for me, it was very important part. Initially I was scared, but that I don't have any part as a tester. But I think you play a very important role in DevOps by advocating for testing, trying to say like what type of test you need to have still. Like you need to advocate for yourself for testing. So I don't know if I've answered the whole question, but I think this is what I want to say.
Okay, thank you. The next one is a little bit similar to the first one. With these changes, did you see any major improvement in quality? For example, do you find more bugs or higher severity bugs?
Major improvement in quality. So before even moving into DevOps, we never had like, our team never implemented unit testing, integration testing at all. So I think there was a lot of improvement because we had a lot of, it was quite a lot of shift left, right? So a lot of testing was being done before even it would come for me, like to test from UI point of view. So it was definitely a lot of improvement from the quality point of view. because of adding those tests. And like having a little bit of automated testing also done, and then a lot of exploratory testing as well. So it really improved.
Thank you. What DevOps tools are you using for your daily work?
DevOps tools. Everyone has different set of tools, so we had a lot of different set of tools. Like Jenkins, we use Jenkins, and for automation we use Selenium with Cucumber, and for communication we use Slack. I don't know, like a lot of different set of tools based on what we needed.
Okay, thank you. Do you use SonarQube for test framework code, and do you write unit tests for automation framework and add it to the pipeline?
Yeah, again, because even when you say our automation code, even that is a code, right? So that's we used SonarQube for like checking our code as well, to give the coverage and to give if there are any code smells in our pipeline as well. So we kind of used in our automation code SonarQube. It is a really good tool.
Okay, thank you. Why DevOps and not Agile? What motivated the change?
I gave the reasons, like because of what we wanted to go ahead, like as a team. Like it was our team and our team decision, our management decision, like because we were moving very fast into microservices architecture, we definitely wanted to move fast. Not to say that DevOps means you have to go fast, but yeah, we wanted to adopt this because we had different teams working on we had cross-functional teams, so we wanted to have this as a new set of technology process we wanted to work on. So it was like, our team decision based on that.